Welcome back, everyone. We are diving deep into Becoming, the memoir by the one and only Michelle Obama.
Yeah, it's quite the story.
And, we all know her as the former First Lady, but
Right.
this book really goes beyond just the political figure and kind of digs into, like, her personal evolution.
Oh yeah, it's really about her journey.
Yeah, and the challenges she faced
Yeah.
and how she overcame them.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it so relatable to so many people. It's like, it's not just a political memoir, it's a human story.
You got it.
So we're going to
Yeah.
explore different aspects of her life
Let me do that.
from her childhood
We're child.
on the south side of Chicago
Yeah.
to her experiences with racism
Hmm.
to her relationship with Barack.
Right.
Of course, life as the first lady, all that.
All of it.
So I don't know about you, but when I was reading about her childhood,
Yeah.
it was really striking to me how even though they lived in like a really small
Yeah. Tiny.
attic
Attic apartment.
they had such a strong
A strong emphasis on education.
emphasis on education.
Yes.
It was almost like a given that she was going to go to college.
Totally.
Like that was just expected.
And
And I think that really speaks to
not only education,
Yeah.
but it sounds like they really instilled the sense of pride,
Uh-huh.
self-belief,
Yeah, totally. And like even the small things, like her mom making sure they had like a little library card.
Right.
You
And
know.
using it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's these small acts that can have such a profound influence on
Oh yeah.
on a young person.
But it wasn't all like rosy, right?
No, of course not. I mean, come on. This is America, and it was a different time.
Yeah, and she's a black woman growing up in America.
Absolutely.
So I mean, there's this one anecdote that really kind of
Yeah.
stuck with me, and I think a lot of people who've read the book.
Yeah.
She talks about how when she was like 10
Mhm.
years old, someone told her that she talks like a white girl.
Oh my God.
And I mean, can you imagine being 10
10 years old,
and having someone say that to you? Like,
especially in that context. Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
it makes you really think about like identity.
yes.
And especially for a young black girl who's trying to figure out
right.
where she belongs
Where she fits
in the world
in a world
and how
that already has all these like preconceived notions.
conceived
In
notions.
boxes that it tries to fit people into.
Exactly. And then, to make matters even worse,
Yeah.
she had this experience with her college counselor
Oh, the college counselor. Tell me about it.
who basically tells her
I can't believe it.
straight up
I can't believe that actually happened.
that she's not Princeton material.
I know. It's like, where do they get off, these people? Like,
Yeah.
who are they to say that?
And, that kind of thing can really crush your confidence.
You would think so, right.
But she didn't let it.
But she didn't, no.
I mean, that's the amazing thing.
She didn't let it stop her.
She went on to not only attend Princeton,
She excelled.
but excel there.
She crushed it at Princeton and then
Right, and
went on to Harvard Law.
Harvard Law School, like, come on.
Yeah. I mean, talk about proving someone wrong.
Yeah,
That's what I call resilience,
it's incredible.
Taking those challenges and like using them as fuel
Yeah.
to propel yourself forward.
It makes you think about all the other people out there who might be facing similar
Totally.
obstacles.
Barriers, and maybe they don't have that same
Yeah.
level of support
Or maybe they don't have that inner,
or that same fire in their belly.
that inner strength.
Yeah, yeah.
So she gets to Princeton, and
Okay.
I mean, imagine being a black woman
Yeah.
at a predominantly white Ivy League school in the 1980s.
Oh, I can only imagine.
I mean, that's got to be tough.
I mean, it was a different world back then, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, things have gotten better, but
Yeah.
but it was a different world.
And she describes it
Yeah.
as being like a poppy seed in a bowl of rice,
Yeah.
which I think is such a vivid
Such a powerful analogy.
analogy.
It really captures that sense of, isolation, of feeling different,
Yeah, that feeling of not
of not belonging.
belonging, and that weight
The weight of representation,
of resentment,
like you're carrying the hopes
your entire
and dreams of an entire group of people on your shoulders.
community. Yeah, it's like you're not just there
Exactly.
as yourself.
Right.
You're there
Lived
as
in
a
without.
representative
Yeah.
of your race.
Of your entire race, yeah.
And so that brings up the whole issue of affirmative action,
Oh, yeah, that's a thorny one.
because she even questions in the book, like, whether it helped or hurt
It's a good question. Yeah.
her sense of belonging.
Right.
It's like, On the one hand,
Because on the one hand,
it opened these doors
it opened doors that might have been closed otherwise.
that might not have been open to her.
Right. But
then on the other hand, it's like,
on the other hand, it's like, are you here because you deserve to be here?
yeah,
Or are you here because of some policy?
did I earn this or was this given to me?
Yeah, and
And it must have been so
how do you reconcile that?
confusing
How do you even begin to wrap your head around that?
to navigate that.
And then on top of all of that, she's also dealing with like straight up racism.
Yeah.
I mean, both subtle and overt.
From both peers and professors.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's mind-boggling that that was even like acceptable back then.
And it's like, you think about all the hurdles she had to overcome
Yeah.
just to succeed.
Right.
And she did, which is even more remarkable.
And that's what's so amazing, is that she didn't just survive, she thrived.
Yeah, she did.
She excelled.
Yeah.
She like took those experiences and said, you know what? I'm going to turn this into fuel.
Yeah.
I'm going to use this to prove you wrong.
And she really did.
She really did.
She didn't let it define her. She defined herself.
Exactly.
And, she ended up graduating with honors, went on to Harvard Law School,
Yeah.
became a successful lawyer.
Successful lawyer.
And that's where she met, a certain summer associate.
Oh, yeah, that summer associate.
Barack Obama.
That's where the story gets really interesting.
I know. I'm curious about that. Like
Wow.
these two personalities, like,
Because you have Michelle, who is like driven.
yeah, she's like super driven.
Successful, ambitious.
Okay.
Yeah, like has her sights set on, success in the traditional sense.
Yeah.
And then you have Barack who comes in who's like this community organizer
Yeah. He's got this different kind of ambition.
with this very different kind of ambition. He's all about like community and purpose.
Yeah, making a difference.
And I think that really sparks something in Michelle.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Like you'd think their differences would maybe
You'd think.
push them apart.
Right.
But it seems like it actually
Seems like it actually brought them together.
cemented them.
Yeah. And it's a testament to the fact that, relationships can challenge us,
Oh, yeah.
can push us outside our comfort zone
That'll help us grow.
and help us grow as individuals.
So I think this is a great place to maybe pause.
Okay.
Take a little break.
Yeah.
When we come back, we'll delve into Michelle's internal conflict
All right.
about supporting Barack's political aspirations
Is good.
and how their journey to the White House
Okay.
really reshaped her sense of self
Okay.
and purpose.
Looking forward to it.
So last time we left off with Michelle kind of at this crossroads in her life, right?
Yeah, like facing some real questions about what she wanted to do.
Exactly. Like she had the great education, the high-powered job.
The traditional markers of success.
Yeah, but she was still feeling like something was missing.
Yeah, she talks about this sense of emptiness.
Yeah. It's like you can achieve all the goals you set for yourself and still not feel fulfilled.
It happens. And I think it's because we often equate success with these external things like money and status.
Right, totally. But Michelle's story shows us that it's really about finding your purpose.
Aligning your actions with your values, yeah.
And it seems like Barack's work in the community really had a big impact on her.
Oh, absolutely. Seeing his passion for helping others, for making a difference.
Yeah, it really ignited something in her.
And it wasn't just about him, it was about seeing the power of collective action.
That's so true. The idea that people can come together and actually create change.
Exactly. And I think that's what drew them together, this shared belief in the power of community.
And then, of course, there's the whole Barack deciding to run for president thing.
Oh, yeah, that's a game changer.
I mean, can you imagine the conversations they must have had?
She talks about her initial reluctance.
Oh, I bet. Giving up her career, the impact on their family, and then,
The thought of becoming the first Black first family.
the weight of history on their shoulders.
It was a huge decision with so much at stake.
And I can't even imagine the added layer of scrutiny and pressure she would face as a Black woman.
Oh, absolutely. It would be relentless. The expectations, the criticism.
The double standards, everything.
And then, right in the middle of all this, Hurricane Katrina hits.
Yeah, that seems like a real turning point in the book.
Seeing the devastation, the slow government response.
And how it disproportionately affected Black communities.
It really brought home the urgency of Barack's message.
It wasn't just about politics anymore. It was about real people's lives.
And I think for Michelle, it became deeply personal.
Like a call to action almost.
Yeah, she realized they had a chance to make a real difference.
So she took that leap of faith.
Left her job and jumped headfirst into the campaign.
And the rest, as they say, is history.
But let's talk about what happened next. Life as First Lady.
Yeah, it's often portrayed as this glamorous, exciting role.
But Michelle's book paints a different picture.
She's very honest about the challenges, the restrictions.
The lack of privacy, the constant scrutiny.
It sounds really isolating, actually.
She talks about feeling trapped at times.
And for her, it was even more intense as the first Black First Lady.
Oh, yeah, the pressure was immense. She was constantly under a microscope.
Every word, every action, analyzed and critiqued.
And often through a lens of racism and sexism.
It's hard to even imagine dealing with that.
It speaks to the impossible standards that are often placed on Black women in positions of power.
But despite all that, she still found a way to make the role her own.
Focusing on issues she cared about, like childhood obesity, education.
And she did it with such grace and authenticity.
Remember the White House garden?
Oh, yeah. It was more than just about healthy eating.
It was about community, connecting with the land, nurturing something beautiful.
It was a powerful symbol of her approach to the role, really.
She challenged expectations, used her platform to advocate for change, and inspired so many people.
It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
And, you know, we're just scratching the surface here. There's so much more to explore in Michelle's story.
It's amazing to think about everything Michelle Obama accomplished, you know?
It really is. From her childhood to the White House, it's been quite a journey.
And I think one of the biggest takeaways for me is that idea of becoming.
Oh, yeah, that's so central to her story. It's not about reaching some endpoint. It's about constant growth.
Exactly. Like, we often get caught up in achieving specific goals.
Right, like checking things off a list.
But life is rarely that linear, you know?
It's messy, it's unpredictable, and that's okay.
It's about embracing the whole journey, the ups and downs, the twists and turns.
Because those are the things that shape us, that make us who we are.
And one thing that stood out to me was her dedication to mentorship and education.
Oh, absolutely. She talks about how important mentors were in her own life.
And how she wanted to pay it forward, to be that support for others.
Especially for young women and girls of color.
Right. It's like she's creating this ripple effect of empowerment.
And that's so powerful because representation matters.
It does. Seeing someone who looks like you, who comes from a similar background, achieving great things.
It can really change your whole perspective on what's possible.
You know, one of the things I found most inspiring about Michelle was her ability to stay grounded amidst all the chaos and pressure.
She never lost sight of herself.
Yeah, even as First Lady, she remained authentic, true to her values.
And I think that's why people connect with her so strongly.
Because she's real. She's relatable.
Even when facing criticism, she never gave up on hope, on the power of education.
And that's a message we could all use a little more of these days.
It's a reminder that we have a choice in how we respond to challenges.
We can choose to be part of the solution, to lift each other up.
And that's what becoming is all about, I think. It's about using your experiences to make a positive impact on the world.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into becoming, I'm left feeling incredibly inspired by Michelle Obama's story.
It's a powerful reminder that we all have the potential to create change, to become the best versions of ourselves.
And if you haven't already, I highly recommend reading Becoming.
It's a must-read, truly.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
We'll see you next time.